Welcome back to the Fairway Feed, everybody, for another tournament recap. This past weekend, we had the Texas Children's Houston Open, and it's more of a tongue twister to say that than you might think. There was some Thunderstorms threatening tournament play, a few record-breaking scores, we had a little bit of drama in the final round, and it all culminated in a fifth first-time PGA Tour winner this season. So without further ado, let's dive straight into the coverage. The Texas Children's Houston Open is a yearly tournament where the emphasis is on the younger generation of up-and-coming golfers. There tends to be clinics and pro-ams in the lead up to the tournament itself, and the course is very accessible for the average golfer, being that it's a municipal golf course. It went through a rework in 2019 with the help of Brooks Koepka as the PGA Tour player consultant prior to his move over to LIV Golf. So there is no gatekeeping at this course, and it is played by both professionals and the public alike. It was a wet and chilly opening round to start the tournament, which didn't prove to be too much of an issue for most of the players out in the field. Some bigger names were looking for a tune-up round in preparation for the Masters in a couple weeks, including Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, who would make his first appearance at the tournament in 11 years. Historically, the tournament would fall the week before the Masters, but scheduling changes over the past few years have moved it back a further week. So when asked by the media why he wanted to tee it up for the first time in over a decade, Rory had this to say.
I felt like it was a golf course that would be right up my alley and would suit my game and suit my style of play.
The day would end with some solid scoring rounds of 65 and 66 by the likes of Keith Mitchell, Alejandro Tosti, and Min Woo Lee. Round 2 continued to be just as wet and even had a thunderstorm delay at one point in the round, but this still didn't prove to be much of a problem for many of the golfers. Ricky Fowler, being as effortlessly cool as he always is, would card a hole-out eagle on the 14th hole from 179 yards out and always knows how to play his cards right with the crowd. Scottie Scheffler would make an aggressive push for the lead with a course record tying round of 62 with 8 total birdies on the day and a bogey-free round for the 2 opening rounds of the tournament. I did have a moment myself where I thought I put my own foot in my mouth. Many people had Scottie as the betting favorite heading into this round, but I felt that he hadn't been playing as great as his last season following his hand injury at the end of last year. Scottie's approach shots haven't been as sharp this year, and his putting is something he is still working on getting dialed in, but he absolutely proved me wrong and appeared to be on target to take the tournament by storm. That was until the third round when Min Woo Lee would respond with his own strong showing of 63 on the round with no bogeys and 7 birdies. The weather would actually start to clear up, and this is when Scottie would start to make some of his own mistakes with only 3 birdies and 2 bogeys on the day. Scheffler would slip down the leaderboards, but only slightly, while Min Woo Lee would finish the round with a strong 63, being 4 shots ahead of second place Alejandro Tosti heading into the final round. The final round saw a little bit of drama in the final pairing with Min Woo Lee and Alejandro Tosti, which came on the par 5 8th hole. Lee would hit his tee shot under a bush, which had him contemplating hitting his next shot from off of his knees. He would go back and forth with his caddy Bo Martin on what would be the best option, either hit the ball or take an unplayable drop. There was clearly a disagreement on what the best option would be between the caddy and the player, as it took them 12 minutes to decide what to do before ultimately taking a drop. The hole would end up taking 31 minutes to complete for the final group to finish out the hole. Now, pace of play has been a point of contention for a while now on the tour, but in this instance, when the players hold a lead in tight contention with the rest of the field and it's for their first PGA Tour win, any mistake can be costly and lose them the tournament. Tosti did not take kindly to this and complained to the rules official on how long this was taking and felt that Lee should have been penalized. After the hole was said and done, you would think this would be the end of the matter, but instead of taking the high road, Tosti decided to take matters into his own hands 4 holes later and purposely walk slower down the fairway than the rest of the group to hold up play for the final pairing. He's also had a few controversies during his time on the Korn Ferry Tour as well, so it should come as no surprise that he finds himself in yet another controversy on the golf course. With the field making a strong push for the lead, including Gary Woodland, Scottie Scheffler, and Rory McIlroy, any mistake would prove to be costly, and Lee would end up with a waterbound ball on the par 5 16th hole, where he would finish with a bogey, moving his lead to just one shot. There were two more record-breaking rounds of 62 by Gary Woodland and Sam Valimaki. This was actually Gary Woodland's first top 5 finish since his brain surgery to remove a benign brain tumor in September 2023. It's a massive leap forward after a harrowing health scare for the player. Ultimately though, it just wasn't enough, as chef Min Woo Lee would cook up his very first PGA Tour win since joining in May 2023. And that'll do it for the Texas Children's Houston Open, and a storybook ending to a fan favorite, especially amongst younger golfers. Next week we had the Valero Texas Open, but we are not going to be doing a tournament recap video for this one in preparation for the first major of the year. So until then, everybody, hit them straight and keep them in the fairway, and we'll see you real soon for the Masters at Augusta National.